What kind of horse have you got?
A brown one.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Wilford Brimley. What is it about this guy? What is it that people find so interesting about him? Is it because he's a real-life cowboy? Is it the diabetes awareness or the Quaker Oats commercials? Or is it the number of movies he has been in? Whatever it is, Wilford Brimley definitely hits a chord with a certain segment of the population. Seems like a certain segment of the male demographic has a hard-on for Wilford Brimley, including yours truly. I remember him from those Quaker Oat commercials when I was a kid. I was later exposed to his acting in such great films like The Thing and Cocoon, one of which, The Thing, is one of my favorite movies. I vividly remember those Liberty Medical Supply commercials and his weird pronunciation of the word diabetes.
And I don't let living with diabetes interfere with that.
Hell, I knew somebody who wanted to name his band Wilford and the Brimleys, which, by the way, is a great name. But what is it that makes Wilford Brimley so damn likable? He was once interviewed and asked what it was like to be famous, and he responded by saying, "I'm just a feller." There's something genuine in his acting, and I think that drives people to like him. He brings a believability to the roles he plays. He is from that old generation of believable character actors, much like the great Harry Dean Stanton, who's another guy that has his own cult, but that is for another time and place. I think it's also because Wilford Brimley comes off as a true old-time American. The guy has done a lot. He's an actor, he plays jazz music and the harmonica. He was a bodyguard to Howard Hughes, a ranch hand, a wrangler, a blacksmith, and he served 3 years in the Aleutian Islands as a Marine. That's a pedigree anyone wanting to be a manly man would be jealous of. You get a genuine feel with Wilford Brimley. John Carpenter once asked Wilford Brimley what he was thinking when he did one of his scenes during the shooting of The Thing. He replied, "Oh, doing my laundry." I mean, how do you respond to that? So yeah, the cult of Wilford Brimley exists, and you either get it or you don't get it. And I get it. So what does all this Wilford Brimley love have to do with anything? Well, years ago while I was working at a thrift store, I came across this weird diabetes video. You know, finding weird stuff was nothing new, but this was different because it has Wilford Brimley in it. So I knew I had to have it. Now, this is not a traditional review in the sense of the word. For the most part, this video is an introduction into type 2 diabetes, which is a very real, not funny thing people have to deal with. But there are a few odd things in this video worth noting. So let's get to it. So the video starts off and Wilford Brimley is standing awkwardly looking at magazines. So the video barely starts and we already have a timeout. The narrator mentions that Wilford Brimley is the star of the TV show Our House. Wow, nice timestamp.
Wilford Brimley is the star of the popular television program Our House. He was diagnosed as having diabetes 3 years ago.
Wait, what the hell is Our House? I had never even heard of Our House, which is quite shocking considering how much of a dork I am. I may be the only person who has watched every episode of Baywatch Nights. So, what's Our House? Well, frankly, I had to look it up. What I found shocked me in terms of casting. It stars Wilford Brimley, a young Shannon Doherty, this is before she kissed Randy Quaid, and you'll never believe this, cameos by Patrick Duffy. It's like a huge wave of actor cultness going on. I mean, Patrick Duffy has his own cult, but for very different shows, mostly Dallas and Step by Step.
Don't you worry about me, honey. I'm crap-proof.
Grandpa? Grandpa, I'm so glad you're here. I was so scared. I mean, I never thought anything like this would ever happen to me.
Hold on. What happened to you?
Okay.
I wish I knew what to tell you to say to him. Myself, I think just your being there will be enough.
So the premise is, after his son John dies, widower Gus invites his daughter-in-law and her 3 children to move to California with him. Despite the protests, they eventually move. As they settle into life with Gus, they realize that he can be difficult to live with. A major part of the plot each week was centered on the conflict that can arise when extended family tries to live together in the same house. As the man of the house, Gus imposed rules on the 3 grandchildren the same way he raised his own children. Jesse and the kids learn that beneath Gus's stern facade is a man who is wise about the ways of the world and who cares about them very much. So it's really not as awesome as it sounds. Having watched a few episodes, it's only really interesting to watch for the little quips from Wilford Brimley. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong with the show. It's a family show with life lessons. If that's your bag, more power to you. So where the fuck was I? So, after the Our House thing, this is where the video gets weird. So as Wilford is talking, the camera stays on him. But from the background, you slowly see a guy walking up behind him. Is this one of the lost scenes from The Thing where Blair becomes the Thing? Or is that Dick Warlock as the shape? Because he kind of looks like Dick Warlock with glasses.
In this program, you learn about diabetes, what it is and how it affects your body. You'll also learn ways to control and manage it. Because with a little care and planning, you can control diabetes and continue to lead a full and active life.
I remember watching this thinking that this was a joke. Why would you film it like this? This is not a horror movie. Why is the fucking guy not standing next to him at the beginning of the fucking video? Why does he look like he wants to make Wilford Brimley his next victim? I got it, the director wanted to be all cute and artsy with it. He wanted to make it like a metaphor for getting type 2 diabetes. Wilford Brimley is going on with his life when all of a sudden type 2 diabetes creeps up on him, slowly trying to ruin his life. Or not. I have no earthly reason why someone would choose to do this. Oh wait, they know each other, and then shake hands. So who is this ass clown? Oh, a doctor. Or a fucking robot, by the way this guy reads his lines.
Doctor?
Thank you, Wilford. In diabetes, there is something wrong with the way your body processes food for energy. In other words, diabetes is a metabolic disease. If you have diabetes, your body is either not producing enough insulin or not using it properly, sweaty, and your breathing may be rapid with a fruity smell on your breath.
He has almost no emotion delivering his lines. It's like it almost pains him to show any emotion. Then we have some pretty primitive animation involving the interaction of glucose and insulin. It looks like a fucking old Atari game. We are then introduced to a nurse who can barely read her lines.
You'll probably also find that although you may not feel sick now, you'll feel much better when you start your treatment program. Stronger, healthier, and more energetic.
We then catch up with the nurse as she's shown in a cafeteria awkwardly pushing a food tray and grabbing a yogurt.
And good nutrition, not fat or starvation diets.
I mean, come on! I know she's just a nurse, but she had one thing to do and she did a piss poor job with it. Just try, that's all we're asking! Then, later on in the video, she has more screen time, and yet again, she barely puts up the effort. She's leaning on the counter, she looks like she's about to fall asleep, but she's got narcolepsy. And yet again, she delivers her lines much like the shape from earlier with no delivery or punch. Both of them look like they would rather be doing anything than be here.
A healthcare professional can help you become an expert with the use of your specific blood glucose unit by learning how to correctly use the machine.
So that's basically it. There's not really much to make fun of in this video since it's really about type 2 diabetes. The only reason weirdos would ever watch this is because Wilford Brimley's in it. So Wilford Brimley closes out the show and he actually has a pretty good epilogue. And I'm gonna just let him do it because frankly, I don't really have anything to tie this all together except that Wilford Brimley is great. Wilfred, take it away.
One more thing. Relax, will you? This isn't the end of the world. As a matter of fact, for me and you, it could be just the beginning. Oh, and take care of yourself. It's really up to you, you know.
Don't you worry about me, honey. I'm crap-proof.